Hello and welcome back to our last half hour. Okay, now I am going to talk a bit today about the learning process, learning a second language. I've spoken about this many times, but I'm going to continue. I'm sorry, but it's good listening comprehension practice for you, okay? It's good listening comprehension practice. Oh my, I've told you on more than one occasion that there are three objectives when you want to master a second language. En este caso, llegar a dominar un segundo idioma, sobre todo de adulto. There are three objectives. Objective number one, listening comprehension, understanding. That is by far the most important, by far, by far, by far. Con mucha diferencia. Con mucha diferencia. 7 sílabas. En inglés, by far, 2 sílabas. Listening comprehension or understanding is by far the most important element in mastering or in controlling, mejor dicho, the communication environment. Environment, el entorno de comunicación. Controlarlo pasa siempre por el oído primero, Always through the ear. If you don't understand well, it's impossible to control the communication environment. If you speak perfectly, you don't control the communication environment if you don't understand perfectly. Perfection is only necessary for the ear. The rest, cuanto mejor, cuanto más mejor, the more the better. The better you speak, the better for everyone. But this comes first. Remember, this comes first, and I can't teach you. I can't teach you to understand better. You need to expose your ear to the richness of the English language, different speeds, different velocities, different temperaments, different accents, different ways of pronunciation, etc. And you need to expose your ear many, many hours. It's a quantitative question, not a qualitative question. Okay? Now, priority number one. Priority number two, confidence when speaking. Even if you make mistakes, ¿qué más da? Bueno, sí, es importante no cometer errores, but it's not critical. You will always make mistakes. And priority number three, grammar. Knowing your grammar. And priority number four, vocabulary. Priority number five is pronunciation. But it's not, these are low priorities. The three first priorities, listening comprehension, confidence when speaking, decisión y resolución a la hora de expresarse uno. And then finally, agilidad con la gramática básica, solo la básica, ojo. Agilidad, así, bam, sin pestañear. Con la básica, es como un buen malabarista con solo 3 o 4 pelotas en el aire. Only. I'm not asking you to keep 9 balls in the air. And you know, it's similar to a question that happened to me 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, a student of mine, I was teaching the student English, and the student said to me, "Hey Richard, I heard that you're an ex-Olympic swimmer. Is it true?" Yes. I used to swim very competitively. Yes, I used to be a competitive swimmer. Natación, nadador, swimmer. Swimming is natación, swimmer is nadador. I used to be a good swimmer. Well, I still am a good swimmer, but I used to be a competitive swimmer. And my student said, "Hey, Richard, don't tell anybody, but I don't know how to swim." And I said, "Pedro, you don't know how to swim? Come on." No, I don't know how to swim. "Can you teach me?" And I said, "Sure. Yeah, I suppose, no problem." So Pedro and I made an appointment, made a date, una cita, to go to the swimming pool, and I began to teach him how to swim. I remember it was Tuesday of last week. Tuesday of last week, Pedro and I coincided at the swimming pool, and I was wearing my swimming suit. He was wearing his swimming suit, and we got into the shallow part of the swimming pool. The shallow part. Shallow. The shallow part, or the shallow end of the swimming pool, is the opposite of the deep end. The deep part, the deep end. Deep is profundo. Shallow El diccionario dice somero, superficial. In Spanish, usually say la parte que no cubre. La parte viene solo hasta aquí, hasta la cintura. That's the shallow end. Extremo somero, decimos en inglés, extremo profundo. The shallow end, the deep end. Okay? The shallow end and the deep end. Now, the first day, last Tuesday, my friend and I, well, Pedro, my student, he's a friend, we got into the shallow end and I started to teach him. Okay? I started to teach him. Yes. I began to teach him the breaststroke. Breast, braza. That's the easiest stroke, the breaststroke, like this. Yes, that's the breaststroke, okay? And he did very well. I was walking in the water, and Pedro was practicing the breaststroke, moving his arms and his legs, okay? Not bad. He's an intelligent man and a good, fast learner. And I also taught him the freestyle, what you call el estilo libre. Freestyle. Yes, which is not really the freestyle. The technical word for estilo libre is the Australian crawl, okay? Because freestyle, when you hear freestyle, no es un estilo de natación, es el estilo que quieras utilizar. For example, in the Olympics, okay, the freestyle event, la prueba, el estilo libre, everybody swims like this, okay? One arm up, breathe, down, etc. That's the freestyle. However, that is not the freestyle. That is the Australian crawl. The question is, en la prueba de estilo libre, you can use el estilo que quieras, porque es libre. Podrías usar mariposa if you want. That's the freestyle. But everybody chooses this style, the Australian crawl, because it's the fastest. So people think automatically that this is the freestyle. ¿Qué va? No, it's not. It's not the freestyle. But in any case, for the purpose of our English class today, I taught Pedro last Tuesday in the shallow part of the swimming pool, la parte que no cubre. I taught him the breaststroke and the Australian crawl or freestyle. And he did very well. He did very well. I was walking next to him in the swimming pool from one side to the other, back to the other side, back to the first side, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he was practicing. And he was doing very well. I was, not bad, Pedro. Wow, I'm impressed. I'm impressed, impresionado. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Of course, Pedro knew perfectly well that if he had a problem, he could stand up and the water only came up to here. That was no problem. But nevertheless, no obstante, nevertheless, he did well. So when he finished, after the first 30 minutes, 35 minutes, I said, well, Pedro, very well, very good. Yeah, not bad. I'm surprised. You know, you're 34 years old and you don't know how to swim. For the first day, it's very good. And I said, in fact, Pedro, tomorrow, when we come back, let's go to the deep end of the pool, okay? And Pedro said, no. I said, no. Pedro said to me, he said, hey, Richard, don't you think it's a good idea to continue practicing in the shallow end of the pool? Well, yes. You need to continue practicing, that's for sure. But I personally think it's a good idea to experimentar la parte profunda, la parte que sí cubre, okay? To experience. Experience, la palabra experience, por supuesto, es experiencia, una experiencia. Aprender inglés es una buena experiencia, en mi opinión. Enseñar inglés en la tele es una buena experiencia para mí. Gano experiencia enseñando en este plató. I gain experience teaching in this set. Okay? Experience es sustantivo. It's a noun. Pero también es un verbo, to experience. Okay? And it's used in the sense where you say experimentar. Quiero experimentar la vida. Quiero experimentar nuevas sensaciones en la vida. I want to experience. Ojo. No experiment. I want to experience new feelings, new sensations, new emotions in life. Yeah. teaching on television. When my boss came to me and said, Richard, would you like to teach on television? I said, yeah, sure. Do you have any experience? No. Do you think you can do it? I don't know. Are you willing to try? ¿Estás dispuesto a intentarlo? No digo try it. Are you willing to try? En español diríais, probablemente estás dispuesto a intentarlo. Pero en inglés, si pones el it, el intentarlo, are you willing to try it? Cambias el significado de try. Y lo cambias de intentar a catar o probar. Are you willing to try it? ¿Estás dispuesto a probarlo? Mira esta comida. ¿Sabes qué es? No, no, no. Are you willing to try it? I'm not sure. Ahora, si es intentar, no ponemos el lo. Decimos literalmente, ¿estás dispuesto a intentar? Are you willing to try? Try on television, of course. Why not? I want to experience new sensations. I want to experience new emotions. Yeah. Aquí digo to experience, no to experiment. Porque to experiment es con tubos de ensayo. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Un poco de pasado con un poco de presente. Presto, present perfect. Okay. That's to experiment. Realizar experimentos is to experiment. Okay, so with my friend Pedro, I said, Pedro, you're very good on your first day in the shallow end of the swimming pool, así cualquiera, because you know that if you get water in your mouth, in your eyes, or in your nose, you can stand up. There's no danger. Tomorrow in the deep end, okay? And Pedro said, no. Pedro said, no, Richard, are you sure? Yes. Don't you think I need to continue practicing my swimming grammar in the shallow end? And I said, yes, you need to continue practicing your swimming grammar. But I think it's a good idea that tomorrow we try the deep end, okay? And he said, no. And I said, okay, look, Pedro, hagamos un trato. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. You think about it tonight, and when you come back tomorrow, together we'll make a joint decision. We'll decide together. We'll decide together, okay? We'll make the decision tomorrow. So Pedro went home. The next day he came. Last Wednesday, one day later, he came to the swimming pool. Probably a little worried, but nevertheless, he came. And I took him. I have to be careful with the microphone, somewhere here. I took him by the collar, y sin piedad, with no pity. I threw him into the deep end of the swimming pool, and I watched. I was standing on the side of the swimming pool. I was standing on the side. I wasn't in the water. I was standing on the side watching my friend Pedro, my student, panic, suffer, okay? And he fell into the water, and he was surprised. He didn't expect me. No esperaba que yo. Aquí se usa expect. He didn't expect, porque to wait, esperar is to wait is siempre negativo. A nadie le gusta wait. To hope is con ilusión. I espero que no me tire a la parte profunda. I hope he doesn't throw me into the swimming pool, into the deep end. And he didn't expect me to do it, nada más llegar él, to do it the moment he arrived. I took him and I threw him into the water, and he disappeared under the water. He sank like a ship with a hole. And I watched, my God, Pedro. And I could see I could see him in the water, under the water. And I could see that no bubbles were coming out, burbujas, which means the water was going in. And I thought, oof, he's getting water up his nose. As you say in Spanish, está tragando agua, seguro, okay? Lo está pasando mal. He's not having a good time. He's not enjoying himself. He's suffering, and he's panicking. Tenemos un verbo. O sea, vosotros decís, le está entrando un pánico. En inglés decimos, Está panicando, literalmente. O sea, we use panic as a verb. He's panicking, yes. And I was a bit concerned. I was a bit concerned. Concerned. Concerned means preocupado. Concerned also means concernido, concerner, o atañe a esto o aquello. But I was a bit concerned. I was a bit worried. Worried implica más ansiedad que concerned. Ambas palabras. I am worried, I am concerned. Ambos significan estoy preocupado. Now, I am worried probably includes a bit more of mental instability or anxiety. I'm concerned puede ser una sana preocupación. Estoy preocupado por el futuro de la humanidad. I'm concerned about the future of mankind. But I'm not worried. I'm not losing sleep, okay? Are you concerned about the future of humanity? Are you concerned about the future of man? Are you concerned about the future of mankind? Todo significa lo mismo, ¿eh? Las tres preguntas. Concerned. Maybe you are. Are you concerned about global warming? Are you losing sleep every night? If you're not losing sleep, then you're not worried necessarily about global warming, but you're concerned about it. It's potentially an important question. Whether you believe it's really happening or you believe it's not, whether you believe it's man-made, hecho por el hombre, with the pollution, etc., or if you believe it's simply a natural phenomenon that happens cyclically during history, that's another question. But I'm sure you're concerned about it. But you're not losing sleep, so you're not worried. Now, in my case, with our good friend, nuestro amigo, el pobre, ahogándose, el Pedro, de turno aquí, en el agua, in the deep end, not in the shallow end. Here he cannot touch the bottom. Se dice para el fondo de una piscina, the bottom. The bottom of the pool, he can't touch the bottom because it's about 3 meters, okay? Or 2.5 meters. And Pedro is only 1.80 meters. Okay, so he can't touch the bottom, and the first time I threw him into the water, he went under. He got water up his nose, he got water down his throat, tragando agua, and he came up. I remember, he came out of the water, moving his arms like a wild man. His face was red. His eyes were this big, como decís, como platos, like plates, pero no se dice eso en inglés. His eyes were this big. His arms were moving like he was crazy. he was coughing. Suena a café, no? Coffee? Pero coughing. Okay, he was coughing. And I was a bit worried. I was watching him. And his eyes were looking in my direction, but I don't think he was focusing his vision on me. I think in the middle of his panic, he was just looking in straight ahead. And then he went under again. This time I was worried. He went underwater again. And I was waiting to decide in what moment I should jump to rescue. Rescatar. Rescate, rescue. To rescue my friend, Pedro, my student. Ahora, el rescate cuando es un secuestro no se dice rescue. Es otra palabra. Ransom, pero eso es otro día, okay? I was waiting to see when it was necessary to jump into the water myself and rescue our good friend Pedro. Now, the second time he came up again. This time he came up, still coughing, his face was red, his eyes were big, but he started to dog paddle. Dog paddle. Paddle es un remo pequeño, remo, como los indios usaban con las canoas, a paddle. También jugáis al pádel, viene de la misma palabra. It's a paddle. In ping pong, table tennis, we use paddles, okay? So, to dog paddle is hacer así, nadar al estilo perro, mantenerse a flote al estilo perro. And I'm sure his arms were moving at about 3,000 revolutions per minute. He was in total panic. And he was moving, his eyes were big, his face was red, his feet, I noticed, his legs were not kicking. He was not kicking or moving his legs. The day before, on Tuesday, I had taught him the importance of kicking his legs, and he didn't do it. I don't know why. He had forgotten. In the middle of his panic, he forgot everything I taught him the day before. Can you believe it? I spent 35 minutes with Pedro on Tuesday, teaching him the breaststroke, and the freestyle, or the Australian crawl, and he abandoned everything. Okay? He abandoned everything. So, what was my alternative? I watched him, and he was in the water, dog paddling, 3,000 revolutions per minute, and he was becoming an expert dog paddler. But he was stationary in the water. He didn't move. He was only moving his arms. But after 30 seconds, 45 seconds, or almost a minute, he was becoming an expert dog paddler. He was not going under anymore. He was staying afloat, breathing, he was keeping his head above the water. And then, starting in the second minute, after 60 seconds, he began to move in the water. In essence, he was swimming. Yes, nadando ya. But he was swimming like a dog. He was not using the breaststroke. He was not using the freestyle. In essence, he wasn't using the grammar, the swimming grammar I had taught him the day before. Yes. And he began to move around the deep end, la parte profunda, the deep end of the swimming pool like a dog. And he was becoming an expert dog paddler. And after 90 seconds, about 90 seconds, 100 seconds, maybe a little less than 2 minutes, I noticed a timid attempt. Tímido intento. A timid attempt. Aquí no se dice shy. Okay, shy is timidez de estar uno cortado. Pero a timid attempt at a breaststroke. And when I saw him begin, I said, okay, Pedro, out. Out of the pool. You can come out. And he looked at me and said, no, I think I'm okay. And I said, out, Pedro, out. And reluctantly, de forma reacia, o sea, reticentemente, reluctantly, he got out of the swimming pool. Obediently, he obeyed me. And we marched together, back to the shallow part. And I put him in the shallow pool to begin practicing the grammar again. The swimming grammar in this case, not the English grammar, the swimming grammar. But in 90 seconds, ojo, in 90 seconds, 90 segundos, no 90 minutos, in 90 segundos, in 90 seconds, me, as Pedro's swimming instructor, I had accomplished the most important objective. When you teach a person to swim, the most important objective is to break that person's fear of the water. Romper su miedo al agua. You break his fear of the water. And I did that in 90 seconds. How? Me, as an expert, ex-Olympic swimmer and fantastic swimming instructor, how did I do it? Doing nothing. I stood on the side of the swimming pool and watched poor Pedro panic and suffer, getting water up his nose, down his throat, in his eyes, in his ears, everywhere. But in those 90 seconds, presto, I broke his fear of the water. And now we went back to the shallow part, la parte de cubre, que decís aquí, the shallow part of the swimming pool, to teach him the strokes again. Otra vez con la gramática acuática en este caso, the swimming grammar, but ahora con mucho más conocimiento de causa. Pedro ha perdido el miedo al agua. Eso es lo esencial. Y lo hizo sin mi ayuda, pasando apuros, muchos apuros, pero ya rompimos ese miedo que tenía al agua. Y con el inglés es lo mismo. It's the same. As a teacher, I cannot break your fear. I cannot give you ear and I cannot give you la confianza que hace mucha falta para expresarse bien en inglés, sin miedo. Only so if you get water up your nose, down your throat, and you panic a little, you will break the barrier, la barrera. Y el problema de la soltura muchas veces es el coco, no los verbos irregulares, es el coco. And I can't help you on that, except motivate you to work hard and to study a lot and to expose yourself to the crude reality of communication if possible. I'll come back another day and talk more about this question, because this question is very important. I need to make you understand what is necessary to learn a second language. Okay? But I'll be back again. Ya no hay tiempo. The time's up. The class is over. Colorín Colorado, this class has acabado. So, have a good day. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.